All right, good morning. I'm David-Reimer with the Texas Storm Chasers. It is 8:08 on the 27th of October, 2021. We have a tornado warning now for the northern Houston metro, or at least the suburbs. So let's go ahead and talk about real quick who's in and who's out. Potential tornado very near Pinehurst right now, just southeast of Magnolia. Tomball, uh, Shenandoah, Oak Ridge North, Woodlock, Spring. You are in the tornado warning. You need to take your tornado safety precautions. That means lowest floor, center room away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. And you don't need to be in a vehicle. If you're in a vehicle, pull on over to the nearest gas station or sturdy structure. Go ahead and head on in and take shelter. Could be a restaurant, could be a fast food establishment, could be a gas station, etc. We don't want folks on Interstate 45 right now between Conroe on the north and Spring on the south. We note this tornado should stay north of Intercontinental Airport for now at least. Again, strong indication of a tornado very near Pinehurst right now on Highway 149. Switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. And what I'm going to do, we're going to turn off this radar. We're going to switch to a terminal Doppler weather radar just like we did up in Dallas last night. Give me just a second, and I'll be able to show you the circulation in much more detail. Circulation right there, very near Pinehurst. So again, if we have a tornado down, it's going to be near Pinehurst, and this will be moving east-southeast at, well, let me rephrase that, moving east at about 35 miles an hour. So again, a possible tornado is down very near Pinehurst right now in the northern Houston metro. Tornado warning will be until 8:30 a.m. This does include Stagecoach, Tomball, Woodlock, includes Shenandoah, includes Oak Ridge North, technically includes the city of Spring, includes Interstate 45. Do not go on 45 south of Conroe, north of Loop 8 right now. As a potential tornado is currently very near Pinehurst, moving east at 35 miles an hour. We note a possible second circulation developing a little farther north. If that does materialize, it could be a threat to Conroe here within the next 20 minutes or so. Good morning, I'm David-Reimer with the Texas Storm Chasers. It's 8:11 a.m. on Wednesday morning, the 27th of October, 2021. A tornado warning for a spin-up tornado currently near Pinehurst, northwest side of the Houston metro, just north of Harris County, moving towards Interstate 45 between Woodlock and Spring. We want folks in Woodlock, Shenandoah, Oak Ridge North, Spring, Tomball, Pinehurst, Magnolia, Stagecoach to move to your safe places. That's going to be lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This probably will not be a long-lived tornado, but regardless, you got to treat them like they're going to be. So, as this moves east at about 35 miles an hour, it's going to be moving towards Shenandoah, Woodlock, Oak Ridge North. Here's a different look at it. You've got the greens. It's going to be the wind moving away from the weather radar. About 35 miles an hour or so. Wind moving towards the radar. About 35 miles an hour or so. So about a 70 mile per hour gate-to-gate circulation. Certainly indicative of the potential for a brief spin-up tornado near Pinehurst or just northeast. You can tell by all these streets showing up that this is a highly populated area. In fact, I'll do one better. Let's go ahead and put some telestration on. Let's see if we can't get some roads to show up here. Okay, so it's going to be coming up to Dobbin Huff Smith Road, eventually crossing over FM 1488 here west of Shenandoah, west of Highway 242. Your gate-to-gate couplet, just northeast of Pinehurst, northeast of Highway 249. moving east-northeast at about 35 miles an hour. We've got another tornado warning now. This is going to be in the Golden Triangle for Jefferson County. So we're going to have to play alternating here. We were lucky most of the night. Could have a new circulation developing southwest of Conroe. If so, that'll require a tornado warning that would include the city of Conroe. Looks like the squall lines finally decided to start misbehaving instead of, behaving. Which means we're going to see these spin-up circulations try and develop. But again, let's go cover tornado warning number 2. This will be for Jefferson County. This is going to be in the Golden Triangle with a dangerous supercell thunderstorm moving up towards Beaumont and Port Arthur. So let's take a look. Unlike the squall line farther west, that's a squall line. This is a line of storms, potential for a brief tornado near Pinehurst, moving towards Shenandoah, Oak Ridge North. Could have a second circulation developing shortly, moving towards Conroe. Discrete supercell thunderstorms. Storms out ahead of the line. That's not good. This storm is capable of putting down a tornado. Not only a tornado, but potentially a strong tornado at that, if it puts one down. It's going to be a tornado warning that runs through 8:45 a.m. for southern Jefferson County. Severe storm capable of putting a tornado down 12 miles northeast of High Island, moving 15 miles southeast of Hampshire, moving north at 25. So, this technically does not include Port Arthur, does not include Beaumont yet. This storm is moving northeast, north-northeast. So those of you in Beaumont all the way to Port Arthur, all right, I want you to pay really close attention to these storms. Y'all are in a... Notice how these storms are generally out by themselves versus the squall line over Houston. You've got very strong low-level wind shear in place, so you need to pay very close attention to these storms because they are certainly in a position to where they could put tornadoes down. Very strong low-level wind shear. All right, so we've got that. This is over a mainly rural area right now, so we're going to keep an eye on it. Again, those of you in Beaumont all the way to Port Arthur, heads up, if this thing keeps heading the way it's going, you're going to have a problem in about 45 minutes. Let's go back to the tornado warning that is in a populated area. This is going to be east of Pinehurst now. Looks like we're going to have another tornado warning. Now we have a problem. We've got a tornado warning that does include the city of Houston. So, like bullets in a gun, these are just coming off right after one after another. Good morning. We've now got a tornado warning that does include the Houston Metro, Houston proper. So let's talk about it. I'm going to turn off the data. Let's talk about the tornado warning polygons first, since we're starting to get them everywhere. Northern tornado warning, circulation east of Pinehurst, moving towards Woodlock, Shenandoah, Oak Ridge North, Spring. New tornado warning that is currently on the west side of Houston. This is going to be coming up to Jersey Village soon. This includes Alding. This does include Houston Intercontinental Airport. This includes Spring Valley. This includes downtown Houston. This includes Hunters Creek Village. This includes Mount Houston. And again, this includes Alding. So this runs till 8:45. So yeah, we've got tornado warnings galore right now. Let's go through them one by one. Again, we're going to switch to the how hard it's raining, the which way the wind's blowing mode. Possible tornado is going to be just northeast of Pinehurst, moving towards Shenandoah, Oak Ridge North. Oak Ridge North would be coming into town 8:38, Shenandoah 8:36. Okay, southern tornado warning. Moving into Jersey Village at 8:32, Alding 8:49, Cloverleaf 9:10, Sheldon 9:12 if it makes it that far. So again, these are generally brief spin-up circulations, but they can spin up in a real big hurry. I'll just go ahead and point it out now. We could have a third tornado developing southwest of Conroe. That could be a threat to Conroe in the next 20 minutes or so. Don't be surprised if we have a tornado warning on that. Fourth possible tornado is going to be southwest of Port Arthur, south of Beaumont. If that's a pretty dangerous supercell, let's be clear about that. This thing out here heading towards Port Arthur and Beaumont is all out by itself. That worries me. You do not want to see discrete supercells out ahead of a squall line. Not a good situation, so that's a problem. Storms moving into Houston, squall line, brief tornado spin-ups in addition to straight line winds. Problematic in its own right. Discrete supercells can put down longer-lived, stronger tornadoes. That's a problem. Beaumont, Port Arthur, I want y'all to watch those storms like a hawk. All right. And we take a 10-second break for coffee. So again, good morning. I'm David-Reimer with the Texas Storm Chasers. It's 8:20 in the morning, and we're dealing with tornado warnings galore now. We went all night without tornado warnings, and now in the last 10 minutes, we've had 3. Welcome to life. So, we'll just go through one by one. We're going to turn off the regional radar. We're going to use a terminal Doppler weather radar. These were introduced after the Delta 191 crash up in Dallas back in the 80s. These are for wind shear detection, but they're very good with low-level winds. So they also update very quickly, so that's why we're using them. This is going to be the which way the wind is moving product. And we have one radar for one radar for Intercontinental, one radar for Hobby. Let me make sure we've got this out on Twitter. My apologies, I have to multitask here. Okay, so a couple notes. We're going to focus on the most dangerous storms. We're going to try and give each circulation the time it deserves. If you want to keep track of the storms in your respective area, texasstormchasers.com/radar is going to be the way to go. You can keep an eye on the storms down to your neighborhood. You can go track the nor'easter attacking New England right now. It's up to you. So let's go ahead and go from north to south. One circulation currently near Conroe, southwest of Conroe, excuse me. Let me be specific in that. Make sure I've got this data up to date. Okay, so we're just going to start circling these circulations as I see them. One there, and then we've got the one down in Houston proper, but we'll deal with that in a second. The squall line, in addition to producing brief tornadoes, can also produce damaging straight line winds. Of course, it's the tornado warnings making the phones go nuts. Okay, so different products. Circulation approaching Conroe from the west could put a brief tornado down. No warning out on that for now. Brief tornado possible with the circulation moving towards Shenandoah, Oak Ridge North, and Spring. That looks a little less organized than it did about 5 minutes ago. Again, these aren't supposed to last too long, but we have to keep an eye on them regardless. Third potential tornado is going to be coming into Jersey Village shortly. It's crossing over Spencer Road right now, possibly about a mile or two west of Highway 6. We'll switch to the velocity data, and again, we're using the Houston NexRad radar. It's got lower resolution than the terminal Doppler weather radars, but it also can see through some of the rain. Okay, so again, southern tornado warning, Jersey Village, Spring Valley, Aldine. Technically does include downtown Houston, north sides of Houston, all the way up to Intercontinental Airport. Mount Houston, you're in the tornado warning. Circulation number 2 up in the middle, coming up to Shenandoah, Oak Ridge North, Spring. All right, you want to be in shelter, potential for a brief tornado damaging straight line winds. We're going to keep an eye on the section of the storm approaching Conroe. That's the weakest circulation. It does not have a tornado warning right now. We have a discrete supercell that could put a tornado down, and this is generally heading towards Beaumont and Port Arthur. Central Gardens eventually even could impact Vidor and Orange. Notice these are discrete supercells versus a squall line. It's the discrete supercells that really worry me, to be honest. Let's switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. Good news is we don't see any near-term scary circulations that have tornadoes down this second. But given the strong low-level kinematics and thermodynamics, considering we're right off the Gulf Coast, this thing could put a tornado down at any time. So those of you in first town coming up is going to be Taylor Landing, which is going to be just north of Highway 73, west of Port Arthur. You're in the tornado warning. You need to be in your safe places, lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. All right, we're going to go back to the Houston tornado warnings now. Tornado warning for Oak Ridge North and Spring. Let me see if we can get our terminal Doppler weather radar data to update again. We're going to do a complete restart of this radar real quick, this program, so it's probably going to go blank for a second. My apologies. Have it back up in just a moment. Hi. But we should have it up in a moment. My apologies, I had to actually go kill the process. It was hum. Alright, so let's get the radar back up. You'll see the data loading. It's the Earth. Alright, first off, let me fix that. Zoom on in. Let's see if we can get the terminal Doppler weather radar data to show, because that is much more preferred given the close proximity. So let me pull it up. We'll get it to load. Alright, here's the latest velocity data. There's streets. If we have a tornado down, and I'll say it doesn't look as likely as it did a few minutes ago, but these can put brief tornadoes down quite easily. Creekside Forest Drive in that area, Creekside Green Drive, moving towards Gosselin Road. You've got Highway 99 to the south. Eventually this will be crossing over Interstate 45, probably very near the Woodlands Parkway. Alright, it's northern circulation moving east at 35 miles per hour. That is an interesting effect, isn't it? Let's turn that off and never let that happen again. Okay, let's go south circulation number 2. It's going to be coming into Jersey Village shortly. Again, this is a potential for a brief tornado very near Highway 290, it looks like. Circulation's a little broad, but it could tighten up at any point and put a brief tornado down. It's Highway 290. Eldridge Parkway. Eventually, it's going to be crossing over Loop 8 here in Jersey Village near or just north of Highway 290 in the next 10 minutes. Tornado warning is in effect. Means lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You don't want to be in a vehicle, and you definitely don't want to drive into the thing. So let's keep that abundantly clear. Again, these are not long-lived significant tornadoes. They're brief tornadoes that can still cause damage, and you definitely don't want to be in one. Okay, let's go out east. We're going to go out to tornado warning number 3. And again, you can keep an eye on all the storms with our interactive weather radar on our website, texasstormchasers.com/radar. It has all the weather warnings. It has, if you can go neighborhood level if you want. And that'll hopefully answer some of y'all's specific neighborhood questions. We're going to switch radars, right in between the two. I'll tell you what, this storm is ramping up that is heading towards Taylor Landing. This is a discrete supercell. We're going to switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. And you saw the velocity couplets on the storms in Houston. potential for brief spin-up tornadoes. If this puts a tornado down this supercell, it could be longer-lived and potentially significant. Taylor Landing. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on a paintbrush since the radar doesn't seemingly want to put it anywhere. I'm going to make sure I get it in the exact right spot. That's Taylor Landing. This is going to pass very near or just east of Taylor Landing. Folks in Taylor Landing, you need to be in a safe place now. I want you to hear the urgency in my voice here compared to what we were just doing in Houston. The Houston tornadoes, yes, respect them. Brief tornadoes could do some damage. Respect them. Take your tornado safety precautions. If this puts a tornado down, this could be a larger tornado that stays down for a while. So folks in Taylor Landing, west of Port Arthur, you need to be in a safe place immediately. Okay? No one should be going on Highway 73 between Winnie and Port Arthur until this dangerous supercell is north of the highway. Those of you in Port Arthur all the way up to Beaumont, this storm's heading your way. I have little doubt if this circulation does not weaken, there will be a tornado warning for portions of Beaumont, Central Gardens, Netherland, Port Neches, and Port Arthur within the next 30 to 45 minutes. This is a dangerous storm that could put down a rather significant tornado. You need to treat it seriously. Hear the tone in my voice. Those of you who've watched these for a while know we are usually joking around, having a good time, blah, blah, blah. Not this with this storm. This is a dangerous storm. Here's why. Look at the reflectivity. It's a discrete supercell. It's your classic supercell. Here, let's have a science lesson. Your hook echo, that's your hook echo. Rear flank downdraft coming down on the back side of the storm right there. I drew the arrow upside down. That's what happens when you're dyslexic. Winds coming down the back side of the thunderstorm. Rear flank downdraft. You have warm, unstable air. There isn't anything south of this storm to interrupt the inflow. Warm, unstable air coming in right off the Gulf of Mexico. Strong low-level wind shear ahead of that squall line. That's why we're always so worried about discrete supercells ahead of the squall line. Well, guess what? We got discrete supercells ahead of the squall line, and now we got problems. So again, those of you in Nederland, thank you. Kara, thank you for that. Nederland, Port Arthur, Central Gardens, Beaumont. You're not under a tornado warning yet. I think you're going to be under one within the next 45 minutes. This is a dangerous thunderstorm that probably produced a long-lived water spout over the Gulf of Mexico. If it was on land, it would have been a long-lived significant tornado. It may be trying to put another tornado down now. Again, switch back over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. You can see we've got a strong gate-to-gate circulation with this thunderstorm. Winds in the colors in the red, that's going to be winds moving away from the weather radar in Houston. Colors in the green and the blue moving towards the radar in Houston. We've got a 90 mile an hour circulation moving northeast. This is Taylor Landing, small community. Port Arthur is not a small community. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a small community or a huge city. Everyone's the same. You need to treat the thing seriously. So again, that's why I'm emphasizing this to folks in Port Arthur, Nederland, all the way up to Beaumont. This is a dangerous storm, and it's heading your way. All right, I'm trying to give you a lot of lead time here. Be ready to move to your tornado safe place if a tornado warning is issued for your location. Nederland, Central Gardens, Beaumont, Port Arthur. This could be a potentially dangerous situation within the next hour. If you have folks in Beaumont, Central Garden, Nederland, and Port Arthur, you have friends, family, shoot them a text message or give them a call and let them know they need to watch this storm that is still southwest of Port Arthur near Taylor Landing, because it could put a strong tornado down as it moves north-northeast over the next hour. It's moving northeast at about 25 miles an hour. I'm going to do something I don't normally do for circulations. I'm going to go ahead. Let's switch back over to the reflectivity. Now I'm going to give a relatively broad stroke. moving northeast at about 25 miles an hour. Let me draw that again. Not everyone in this line is going to be impacted by this. If there's a tornado, by this tornado. I'm just going to draw the north side of the storm. About 25 miles an hour. West sides of Port Arthur, 8:49. Nederland, 9 a.m. Port Neches, 9:04. Central Gardens, 9:05. City of Beaumont, 9:19. Rose City, 9:21. Vidor, 9:26. Reason I'm so concerned... Well, you want to know why I'm concerned? It has got a tornado down right now. All right, so before we do anything else, we need to go back to the Houston circulation. Let's do that. Again, folks, Port Arthur, Beaumont. This storm, 8 miles south of LaBelle, 11 miles southwest of Port Arthur, now has a confirmed tornado. And the storm's moving faster. Those times I just gave you, probably going to be a little too late. So let's go deal with the Houston tornado real quick. We'll go back to Port Arthur and Beaumont. My apologies. Let me click a couple buttons here. Make sure this is up-to-date data. Okay. Circulation now inside Jersey Village. Winds in the green. Let me first off say the radar, literally, you make sure I'm using the right one. The radar is 11 miles northwest of Jersey Village. So at the least we have very strong winds. We've got winds being indicated about 60 miles an hour just northeast of Highway 290, east of Loop 8. Winds moving towards the radar about 30 to 40. So we've actually got a pretty strong circulation trying to develop here again. And this is a storm capable of putting down brief tornadoes in addition to damaging straight line winds. Those of you in Aldine, those of you in Mount Houston, North Houston, north of downtown, you need to be in a safe place. Potential for a tornado. I'll go ahead and put some streets on here real quick. And I want to stress, again, we have a tornado down right now about 10 miles southwest of Port Arthur, moving north-northeast at 35 miles an hour. There's a tornado debris signature. I'll show you on radar in a minute. If we've got a tornado down in northwest Houston, it's likely just northeast of Fairbanks and Houston Road, north of Highway 290. Just probably a little north of West Little York Road, coming up to Woodland Oaks Drive. Going to be Breen Drive. And again, I don't want to get overly specific, but this is where we have strong gate-to-gate circulation now with this thunderstorm. So if there's a brief tornado, that's going to be the general area it is. Downtown Houston, you're clear from this. Tornado will stay north of downtown Houston. If it stays down, it's likely going to be crossing Interstate 45 near Highway 249, a little south of Loop 8 most likely, but don't take my word on that. These can veer a little left, a little right. Okay, tornado warning that was for Tomball to Oak Ridge North and Shenandoah. That circulation's gone. No more tornado warning up there. Okay, look back one more time. Okay, let's go back out east. Let me turn on the data. This is a thunderstorm with a confirmed tornado now, about 9 to 10 miles southwest of Port Arthur. We'll switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. You can see a circulation here. Winds moving away from the radar about 40 miles an hour. Winds moving towards the radar about 45, so about an 80, 85 mile an hour circulation. Now, a minute ago, we had a tornado debris signature with this circulation. I don't think we're getting a tornado debris signature this scan. But again, folks, in Port Arthur, Nederland, Central Gardens, Beaumont, we need to watch all these storms. I want to watch this storm, Anuik. to Stowell to Winnie. We need to make sure that doesn't become a tornadic supercell or to try to evolve into a tornadic supercell. Same thing goes for the storm over the city of Beaumont right now. Let me be clear, the only tornado warning we have out here right now is with this circulation that put a tornado down a few minutes ago about 9 miles southwest of Port Arthur. It's moving north-northeast at 35 miles an hour. Assuming it keeps on its present trek, a tornado warning will be required for Nederland, Port Neches, Vidor, portions of Port Arthur, Central Gardens, and Beaumont within the next 30 minutes. Once we have the tornado warning, or even now, if you want to start preparing, you're going to go to the lowest floor, center room, Anahuac. Thank you, John. Lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You cannot be in a trailer, a mobile home, a vehicle. You need to be in a sturdy site-built structure, like a gas station, fast food, restaurant, hotel, etc. I want you to understand that I don't think this storm is going to be going away. It doesn't mean it's going to have a tornado down the whole time, but this is the kind of storm that generally stays with us for quite a while. So, and the Storm Prediction Center has a level 3 risk of severe weather for this general area today. In fact, I'll turn the tornado outlook on. I'll have to narrate the colors. Yellow is what we call a medium risk for tornadoes. Notice it includes the Golden Triangle, it includes far southeast Texas, the far east part of Texas, the Piney Woods, Jasper down to Kirbyville, Buna, Beaumont, Port Arthur, all the way east on Interstate 10 to, well, pretty much Baton Rouge, Hammond, west side of New Orleans. Could have a couple strong tornadoes in this section today. Green is going to be your low tornado risk. Can't rule out a couple tornadoes. And then blue is your very low tornado risk. That extends into northeast Texas. Can you tell where we're having tornado issues this morning? Hint, it's with brief tornado threat with the squall line moving into Houston. And then we've got discrete supercells, which are causing big problems in the Golden Triangle. And we're likely to see many more tornadoes across southern Louisiana this afternoon. So, with that being said, Facebook. We're going to have to reset the stream for Facebook. Everyone else will be fine. We're not going to turn those streams off, but Facebook, we're going to reset the stream real quick. You'll get a notification we're back, or just go to our Facebook page here in about 60 seconds, and we'll be back. My apologies on doing some housekeeping, folks, but sometimes it's unavoidable. Facebook is being derpy. I mean, that's not a shock to anyone, let's be honest here, but... Okay, so again, I think our tornado warning, tornado threat for Harris County is gone. It's still there, but the tornado threat's gone. Houston, no more tornado warning. Only tornado warning we now have is for this thunderstorm in the Golden Triangle. Houston, you've got a line of severe storms capable of producing straight-line winds 60 to 70 miles an hour. Can't rule out a brief tornado, but the tornado warning for Houston is gone. Okay, I'm going to get this live video back on Facebook, assuming they're done being derpy. Well, they're never done being derpy, but, you know, it's nice when they don't crash in the middle of tornado coverage. But, you know what, sometimes life is but a dream. Did you enjoy your nap? Yeah, Steven got a nap. I did not get a nap. But I did get coffee. I love technology. All right, so again, tornado warning for the city of Houston is gone. Looks like we're now going to have a tornado warning that does include portions of Port Arthur, Nederland, possibly even Beaumont. We'll deal with that in just a second. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get this live stream back up on Facebook because Facebook's about as useful as a mongoose chasing a squirrel. Tornado warning will include the city of Beaumont, Nederland, Central Gardens, Port Arthur, Bridge City. Love having to do stuff in the middle of coverage. All right, got that set up. You want me to go live on your stuff too?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
All right. Okay, so Houston, you've got storms, 50, 60, even 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. No more tornado warnings in the city of Houston or Harris County right now. We're going live on Facebook now. And your stuff, too. All right. Good morning. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy and Chief David-Reimer. It's 8:44 on Wednesday, the 27th of October, 2021. We've got a dangerous situation now in the Golden Triangle. A tornadic supercell with a history of producing tornadoes now moving towards the city of Beaumont, Nederland, Central Gardens, Port Arthur, Bridge City. We've got a tornado warning now until 9:15. The tornado warnings for the city of Houston, Harris County, they're gone. Severe storm capable of producing strong winds 60 to 70 miles an hour north side of Houston. Aldine will be crossing over the north side of Houston between 610 and Loop 8 over the next 20 minutes. Yes, strong winds, but we need to focus on the most life-threatening issue, which is with this dangerous supercell capable of putting down another tornado. It's already put down at least 2 over the last hour. Okay, so, again, who's in, who's out? We want folks in Port Arthur, Nederland, Port Neches. I'm sorry if I said it wrong again. I'm sure someone will tell me, and I'll look at the chat in a second and see it and chastise myself appropriately. Groves, don't you laugh at me. Bridge City, southeast side of Beaumont. This does include Highway 287 between Interstate 10 and the Gulf Coast. It includes Highway 347, 380 from Beaumont to the coast. It includes Highway 87 from Bridge City to Port Arthur. We want folks to be in shelter. Lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This is a discrete supercell, not like the squall line we have out west. Squall line, damaging straight line winds in some locations, potential for a brief tornado. Discrete supercells, potential for all modes of severe weather, including tornadoes that aren't necessarily as weak or short-lived. All right, let's switch over to the which way the wind is blowing mode. Let me be clear, we don't have any reports of a tornado down right now. But we want folks to go ahead and move to their safe places. And if you do that, you'll be fine. Look, even stronger tornadoes, which, I mean, yeah, there's a chance this could put a stronger tornado down, but, I mean, all tornadoes are dangerous. Even strong tornadoes, you'll be perfectly fine if you take the appropriate safety precautions. Don't go outside looking for the thing. Don't go driving around looking for the thing. Don't stay in a mobile home or a trailer looking for the thing. Go to a sturdy site-built structure. Lowest floor, center rooms. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Put on hard-soled shoes. Put on a helmet, even a bicycle helmet. You got sporting helmets, motorcycle helmet, even better. Put a helmet on you. I don't care if you're 8 or 80. You might look ridiculous, but you know what? I'm 30 years old, and I've got a bald spot the size of Montana. Trust me, I look ridiculous. There's a reason I'm nicknamed the Weather Leprechaun and Baldy in Chief. It doesn't matter. Put on a helmet. Hard-soled shoes. And get to the lowest floor, center room, away from windows. I'm sure all the schools across Port Arthur, Nederland, Groves, Bridge City, southeast Beaumont, are taking the appropriate safety precautions as well. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. This is going to be winds moving away from the weather radar in Houston, about 27 to 30. Winds moving towards the radar, about 45 to 50. So about a 70 to 75 mile an hour circulation. And it looks like we got a new tornado warning now. This will be back in the Houston metro area. The squall line's trying to spin up again. But again, those of you in Port Arthur, Nederland, Port Neches, I probably said it wrong, I'm sorry, and Beaumont, tornado safety precautions now. Those of you in Vidor, all the way east to Orange on Interstate 10, don't think you're out of this. This thing's coming your way after it goes through Nederland and Port Arthur. All right, we've got a tornado warning now for the northeast sides of the Houston metro. Little squall line's assigned to be a mischievous squall line, is trying to spin up another brief tornado. Which isn't overly surprising, but you know what? That's what I get for being optimistic. It wouldn't try it. So let me go ahead. We'll turn off the TDWR because it's being derpy. We'll switch back to the velocity mode. And again, yeah, you can see it's trying to spin up a tornado near Highway 99, coming up to Interstate 69. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Those of you in Porter Heights, it's pretty much on you right now. Those of you in New Caney, you need to be in a safe place. Those of you in Kingwood, safe place. That's where all these streets are, southeast of 9969. I know it's not showing on this map, but it's showing on my map. Kingwood, Huffman, and then just west of Eastgate. Looks like this did produce a brief tornado about 3 to 4 minutes ago near Grand Parkway and Rayford Road in Spring. Which one?
The one Beaumont.
Okay, folks in Beaumont, Port Arthur, you need to be in a safe place now. All right? We're looking at the circulation in the northeast side of Houston. This could put a brief tornado down. Folks in Port Arthur, Nederland, you need to be in a safe place now. You should have been in a safe place 15 minutes ago, but you need to move to a safe place now. Those of you in Kingwood, Porter Heights, New Caney, that's going to be south of Splendora. Huffman, this includes Highway 59, north of Humble to New Caney. Potential for a brief tornado, strong straight line winds. Same thing goes for the north side of Houston, down to downtown Houston. We could have some strong winds. Can't rule out a brief tornado. But at this point, I am far more concerned about this supercell coming into Nederland, Port Arthur, Groves, Port Neches. Is that how you say it? Okay. So I really want folks, if here's something we don't ask often. Anyone watching on the interwebs right now, I don't care if you're in New York City, California, or Australia. You got friends in Beaumont, Port Arthur, Nederland, Port Neches, Central Garden, Bridge City. I'll even go ahead and say Pinehurst, Orange, and Vidor. Shoot them a text message, shoot them a Facebook message, shoot them a Snapchat, or give them a phone call. I know that's very old, but I have a bald spot. I don't care. Let them know there is a dangerous storm with a tornado, and they need to pay attention and move to a safe place. That's going to be lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Put on hard sole shoes like boots. And that's just in case, even if there's not a tornado, you have some strong winds, a window breaks or something, you don't want to get your feet all cut up. That's no fun. Put on a bicycle helmet, a sporting helmet, a motorcycle helmet. And that's just in case if something goes flying around or, your bratty sibling decides to throw a tennis ball at your head, you don't get hurt. Hopefully, at least. Mainly because if a bratty sibling threw a tennis ball at my head, I'd throw one right back. So let's switch back over. I'm going to actually, real quick, do a situational analysis here. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, there's a strong storm over the city of Beaumont right now. That's not tornadic, It's putting down a lot of cloud to ground lightning, heavy rain, maybe some small hail, and there's a little bit of an appendage there on the southeast side of Beaumont, but certainly nothing that screams I'm going to drop a tornado in the next 30 seconds. Oh, yeah, I think the Lake Charles radar is going to have a better look at this now. So we're going to switch radars to the closer radar, the Lake Charles radar, which was absolutely, well, it got destroyed in the, which hurricane was that? There's been like 20 since then.
Which one?
Lake Charles radar.
That would be Laura.
Laura, it took out that radar. It took about a year to rebuild, and we're thankful they did because it gives us a very good look at this circulation. My apologies. So, again, those of you in Port Arthur, Nederland, Central Gardens, Groves, Port Neches, Bridge City, southeast sides of Beaumont. Let's do a little bit of nerdy analysis here. Let me be clear. We don't have confirmation we have a tornado down. And I am pretty sure we're going to know real fast if a tornado drops out of this thing, considering it's moving into a populated area. This is Supercell. Rear flank downdraft, or the winds coming around the backside of the thunderstorm there. That's how you get your hook echo. If I were to zoom out a bit, you'd see there's not a shower between this storm and the Gulf of Mexico or 20 miles south of it. Warm, unstable air moving right into it off the Gulf of Mexico into the mesocyclone, or the rotating updraft of this supercell. We'll switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode, and you'll see. Now, honestly, the circulation on the latest scan is much broader. It's not gate to gate. We become very concerned where we see bright reds against bright blues or bright greens. Even more so if it's pixel to pixel, literally red pixel against very bright blue or green pixel. That's what we call gate-to-gate shear, and that's when the mesocyclone tightens up and tends to produce a tornado. Think of it as a ballerina on an ice skating rink. You know, they're floating around, dancing, going all about. They start to bring their arms closer to their chest. They can spin faster. Same theory, practice goes for mesocyclones, rotation, and storms. Circulations tighten up, the broad circulations become much tighter, and that's when you have an increased tornado threat. Speaking of which, we now have another tornado warning back in the Houston metro because y'all can't keep your squall line under control. You know, the squall line behaved most of the night. Yeah, we had some strong straight line winds in the metroplex. We had some strong winds around San Antonio and Austin, but you know what? We didn't have any tornado issues. This thing gets to Houston, it just starts dropping little brief tornadoes left and right. It's like a stepchild that needs to be disciplined. So, yeah, here we go. Let me switch back to the terminal Doppler weather radar. We'll go over who's in, who's out of the tornado warning polygons. Tornado warning polygons, by the way, are in red. So, yeah, this thing's certainly become rambunctious, didn't it? Okay, so tornado possibly very near Kenwood and Mount Houston. I know the city labels aren't on the map. I apologize. My map can be dumb sometimes. I can't do anything about it, but that's why I have another map. Circulation's going to be riding down, looks like Mount Houston Road, moving towards the Highway 8 on the east side, northeast side of Houston. If you're at Mount Houston and Kenwood, you're probably getting very strong winds right now. Go ahead and move to your tornado safe place. What is that? Human Park, Sheldon, Magnolia Gardens, Crosby. You're in the tornado warning. This is a tornado warning through 9:30 a.m. Shouldn't last that long, hopefully, but again, the potential for a brief tornado near Mount Houston Road, heading east towards Loop 8. Tornado warning north of that. Much less scary looking velocity-wise on the radar, crossing over Interstate 69, right over Tollway 99. Moving towards Kingwood and Huffman, eventually Eastgate. Circulation a little farther south. It definitely has the inklings of trying to knock some trees down over Interstate 69. Radar showing winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour. Also seeing rotation in terms of the winds moving back towards the radar at about 20, so we've got about an 80 mile an hour circulation. Decent chance we just had a brief tornado crossover Interstate 69 about 2 or 3 miles south of Loop 8, northeast side of Houston. Make sure we don't have any tornado debris signatures because that would just be the luck of the draw. And again, these aren't expected to be long-lived tornadoes or the kind of tornadoes that are going to level your house, but at the same time, they can knock trees down, they can cause plenty of wind damage, power outages, and we don't want things falling on vehicles or homes. So, I realize alarms are blaring, cell phones are, well, blaring and glaring. Luck of the draw. Downtown Houston. You're clear. This is northeast of downtown Houston. Houston, proper from downtown, west and south. It's raining, it's storming, the winds are blowing, but you're not getting hit by a tornado. Can't say the same thing for folks just northeast of downtown Houston. We'll switch over to the reflectivity product. Let me switch radars real quick. Get back to the Houston radar. You can see a bit of a hook echo or an appendage. Think of it almost as a turtle head. Now east of Interstate 69, moving towards Loop 8, Sheldon, Mount Houston. East of Mount Houston now, north of Homont Park, moving towards C.E. King Parkway. Moving towards North Lake Houston Parkway, pretty much riding North Lake Houston Parkway over to Loop 8, the Sam Houston Parkway. After that, moving towards Sheldon, Magnolia Gardens, and Crosby. So, folks, there, you need to be in a safe place, lowest floor, center room, away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Okay, let's go back to the Golden Triangle. No news is good news in this case, and that's that we don't have any reports of a tornado down. The storm itself, honestly, yeah, it still has a very well-defined inflow notch, but it doesn't have the beefy supercell structure it had 20 minutes ago. We'll switch over to the wind velocity, and you can see, yeah, we've got a broad circulation. We don't have any of the screaming reds against the screaming greens. I will say, it almost looks like the storm northeast of Beaumont, just west of Vidor, is starting to intensify with potential development of a circulation, which, yeah, that could happen. We were talking about it a few minutes ago, and I'd say that almost might be what's happening. So, again, potential tornado now just west of Port Arthur, Highway 93 just north of 73, moving towards Nederland, Central Garden, Port Neches. It doesn't scream tornado down right now, but this could put a tornado down at any point. Storm just northeast of Beaumont, just southwest of Vidor, pretty much like a mile northwest of Interstate 10, southwest of Pine Forest, is starting to look a little more organized in the spinny department. So those of you in Pine Forest, Vidor, moving northeast, south of Buna, keep an eye on this storm that's now northeast of Beaumont. As it moves north-northeast, it's trying to get its act together, and if it continues to do so, may require a tornado warning. Okay, so again, tornado warning continues for Nederland, Port Neches, Groves, Port Arthur, Bridge City, southeast side of Beaumont through 9:15. The warning's extended. Folks from Vidor east to Pinehurst, Orange, Morrisville, you'd probably be under the gun. We'll take a quick look at the rotation again, the which way the wind blowing mode. And again, it's somewhat broad for now. And we're still watching the circulation just west of Vidor that's trying to spin up a bit more. So, okay. Don't have any reports tornadoes are down there right now. That's good. Let's go ahead and switch back over to the Houston circulation since they can't behave themselves. We'll switch back on the terminal Doppler weather radar. And real quick, before I do that, let me see which radar has a better view at this. It's probably still the the intercontinental radar. Switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. You can see we've got a broad circulation in addition to some very strong straight line winds. Those pinks showing up, those are straight line winds over 60 miles an hour. Northeast side of Houston, moving towards Sheldon. Cloverleaf, now east of Mount Houston. If you're in Mount Houston, you're clear. This is just east of you now. Moving towards Sheldon, Crosby, eventually Huffman. Okay, damaging straight line winds could have a brief tornado spin up. I'll tell you now, it sounds like we have nearly 50,000 folks without power just around Houston proper already. So this is already a big deal in terms of power outages. Centerpoint's reporting nearly 50,000 folks. And yeah, that's going to go up a lot more, I'm afraid. So, Northeast Houston. Let me make sure I get the cities, towns best I can do. Homont Park, Sheldon, Magnolia Gardens, Crosby, Barrett. Tornado warning through 9:30. Circulation a little farther north. Could have strong straight line winds as well. Kingwood, Huffman, New Caney. Should be east of Porter Heights now. Potential for a brief tornado. Strong straight line winds just northwest of Cloverleaf, northwest of, I'm going to mess this up. Stephen, Jacinto. How do you say that?
I'm going to probably butcher it as well. Jacinto? I'm going to go with probably a Spanish or...
Jacinto City. And yeah, we messed it up, I'm sure. I'm sorry. Just northeast of downtown Houston, near 610 and Highway 90. Strong straight line winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour possible. Okay, so Houston proper, downtown Houston, south of downtown Houston, west of downtown Houston. You're fine. No tornado warnings for you. I want to make sure we don't have anything trying to spin up. There's some strong winds, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. But not a tornado. Okay, let's switch back to the how hard it's raining mode. I'm gonna have to drink some water. My allergies are going nuts. I don't have water, I have coffee though. Coffee is life. Okay, we'll switch back over. We'll look at the how hard it's raining mode, since that's what most folks are going to be used to. Okay, so leading edge of the squall line extends from near Bay City to Arcola, Fresno. Up in the south side of Houston, Brookside Village, South Houston. It's pouring in downtown Houston right now. And then we've got the tornado warnings coming up to Sheldon, Barrett, Crosby, and then Homont Park and Sheldon. I will say it does look like we do have a little spin-up circulation trying to develop right now, very near Hobby Airport. So we're going to switch to the Hobby radar. I'm going to look at the velocity data. It's going to load in just a second. That's not right. I'm looking at old data. I'm not looking at old data, but just got the radar not working right for me. That's annoying. Might have an area of stronger rotation trying to develop near Hobby Airport. If so, it could put a brief tornado down as it moves towards South Houston and Pasadena, Deer Park. It the least potential for some straight line winds. Okay, let's go back out to the Golden Triangle, deal with those storms. And by the way, for those who might be leaving super chats, stars, etc., I thank you. I don't have time to look at those, or to be honest, I think y'all should be pretty happy. I'm not really caring about those in real time. Unlike some other YouTubers who are on YouTube only because they like the stars, we actually want to give folks life-saving information. That's why we're here. That's why we've been doing Texas Storm Chasers coming up on 15 years. So I am a little concerned with this circulation developing west of Vidor, just south of Pine Forest. That is becoming more prominent as time goes on. So I think the potential for this storm to get mischievous is increasing. No tornado warning right now, mind you, but if we did have something develop, it would be completely and utterly wrapped in rain. Okay, here's a storm over Nederland. In terms of a hook echo, it's got one. You can see it pretty well. It's going to be your hook echo right here. Wind's pushing out behind the thunderstorm. You've got your warm inflow. moving into it. Switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. And frankly, it's a little messy right now, which is good. But a tornado warning remains in effect, and we need to take that seriously, as this thing could spin back up in a hurry. Okay, we just had a little baby MD issued by the Storm Prediction Center. That's never a good omen. And at this point, I think the chance we're going to have a tornado warning with this thunderstorm just north of Vidar. Let's just say I'm getting concerned enough to where I'd encourage folks northeast of Beaumont, Pine Forest, Vidar. It wouldn't be a bad idea to enact your tornado safety plan. This is moving away from Beaumont, moving towards Pine Forest. Could be an issue for Morrisville if it turns a little right. But again, there's enough rotation that I'm getting concerned enough that I think we're probably going to have a tornado warning sooner than later. Looks like the Storm Prediction Center's issued a little discussion for the Golden Triangle. Pretty much saying what we're seeing here. The potential with these discrete storms definitely could be tornadic. Farther west, the squall line could have damaging winds and brief tornadoes. So, all right, let's switch back over to the how hard it's raining mode. Tornado warning continues for another 5 minutes if it's not extended for Nederland, Central Gardens. East of Beaumont. Okay, so real quick, Bridge City, Nederland, Groves. Tornado warning continues. Give it another 15 minutes, it'll be northeast of town, and we can count our lucky stars we didn't have a tornado move through town if it stays that way. Okay, we've got a tornado warning now. This is going to be just northeast of Beaumont. Storm we've been talking about now for a little while. This is going to be a tornado warning for Vidor, Pine Forest, Morrisville, Pinehurst, very north side of Orange, just southwest of Deweyville. This does not include the city of Beaumont. This will not be an issue for the city of Beaumont. This is going to be a possible rain-wrapped tornado moving northeast up Highway 12 right towards Morrisville. Eventually could be Deweyville, so it's going to be a tornado warning until 9:45 a.m. A possible rain-wrapped tornado located over Vidor, moving east-northeast at 25 miles an hour. This tornado warning technically includes Vidor, Morrisville, Rose City, Pine Forest, Gist, Hartburg, Forest Heights, Pinehurst. Deweyville, I'd keep an eye on it. Looks like the National Weather Service is going to let the tornado warning expire. Those of you in Nederland, Groves, Port Arthur, you're clear. Nederland, this tornado warning is going to expire. The storm is weakened. The circulation has too. Nederland, Groves, Bridge City. Port Arthur, storm is weakened. The tornado warning is being allowed to expire in 3 minutes. We'll just say it's expired for good measure. Go back, enjoy your morning. You're going to have a line of storms moving from the west later. Could have some strong winds. Brief tornado potential, but much less than what we'd be dealing with these discrete storms. This storm that is, well, let me switch back to Lake Charles. I am on the Lake Charles radar. Storm that's just northeast of Beaumont near Vidor, moving up Highway 12 towards Morrisville, is definitely taking on more of a tornadic supercellular appearance. A bit of high precip one. It's going to be a rear flank downdraft. Notice how there's so much more rain than the storm earlier. This is a high precipitation supercell. This is going to be your warm, unstable airflow moving all up into the storm. Switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. And yeah, we've got a pretty good circulation here that could put a rain-wrapped tornado down at any time. Make sure no debris signature. We'd be looking for a blue donut surrounded by red. I'll explain tornado debris signature and all that later. But for now, we're going to go back to the Houston circulations. We can have science lesson later. Okay, let's go back to the terminal Doppler weather radar. See if that's given us any good information. That's the wrong radar. Again, potential for a tornado is increasing just northeast of Vidor, moving up Highway 12 towards Morrisville. Let's just use the 88D. Downtown Houston, you're clear. It's raining, it's pouring, your threat of severe weather's ended if you're in downtown Houston to the west of Houston. If you're west of Highway 288 down to Arcola, Fresno, Manville, your severe weather threat's done. If you're in Pasadena, South Houston, you might have a little bit of a spinny trying to develop over South Houston, damaging straight line winds, the potential for a brief tornado. Yeah, again, these tornado warnings that were being issued around Houston, these are brief tornadoes. Trying to like pin the tail on the donkey. Sometimes they can develop so quickly you don't have time to warn them. Sometimes they're kind enough to let you actually get a warning out a few minutes beforehand. Either way, this line of storms all the way from near Cleveland up Highway 59 to Pearland down Highway 35 is capable of producing some strong winds, 40, 50, locally 60 miles an hour. It's capable of spinning out brief tornadoes, generally very weak, very brief, but sometimes you just don't have time to get a tornado warning out. And again, we know there's strong winds with these storms. CenterPoint Power's reporting a lot of power outages. That thing is really trying to put a tornado down coming up to Morrisville. So I guess I need to intro myself. Good morning, I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David-Reimer, 9:15, Wednesday, the 27th of October, 2021. I almost said 2012, good grief. We're dealing with a regional severe weather event currently in southeast Texas in the Golden Triangle. Line of storms across East Texas all the way to the coastal plains and the Gulf Coast. Same line of storms that we had developed last night from near Quanah all the way down to San Angelo. Like I said, they're going to be moving east all the way to Louisiana. And here we are about 15 hours later, still doing severe weather coverage. That's what we do at the Texas Storm Chasers. All right. Port Neches, Nederland, Groves, Port Arthur, again, tornado warning is gone. Storm's about to move out over the bay and into Bridge City. I'll admit, the circulation is starting to intensify. And actually, that's a problem. Let me rephrase that. This thing might actually be trying to put a tornado down right now as it moves off into the bay. Port Neches, that's a gate-to-gate couplet right there. So this thing may be trying to put a waterspout down. Hopefully it's just a waterspout as it moves out over the bay. But if not, we're going to have a brief tornado for a couple seconds here in Port Neches before it moves out over the bay. Either way, Bridge City, Pinehurst, Orange, storms intensifying again. Don't be shocked if you get a tornado warning here pretty quick. In fact, go ahead and assume there's just one there now. Very strong circulation now, just northeast of Pine Forest, northeast of Vidor. Vidor, you are clear. This is to your northeast now. Morrisville, you need to be in a safe place now, especially if you're northwest of Highway 12 and up Highway 62. Very strong circulation. Could put a tornado down at any point. We've got a 80 to 90 mile an hour circulation. Look at the reflectivity. This would be in the middle of very heavy rain. You wouldn't see the tornado. We'll switch over to a product called correlation coefficient to see if we have any debris signature. We don't see any. We'd be looking for a blue donut there. This product allows, well, let me rephrase it correctly. When the radar sends out its beam and data comes back, the radar is able to essentially determine if objects in a certain grid have varying shapes and sizes. Over a relatively small area, hailstones, raindrops, snowflakes, etc. all have about the same size and dimension. Tornado debris does not. Leaves, twigs, shingles, stuff like that. All different shapes, sizes. The radar can tell that, and thus the sizes, the shapes don't correlate. So instead of having a high correlation coefficient near 100%, which is what these reds are, you have a lower correlation coefficient, which would be a big blue circle or a donut, where the tornadic circulation is on the radar. So we'd switch back over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. We'd be looking, and again, folks, I really think there's a tornado coming down here right now. Northeast of Pine Forest, you need to be in shelter now. We'd look right there. We'll draw, literally, we'll draw a circle. Switch back over to the reflectivity, again, rain core. We'd be looking for a blue donut right there. We don't see any, so the radar's not detecting any debris. But I caution, folks, we are looking at about 3,000 feet above the surface, so there'd have to be a tornado there for a little while in order for there to be debris lofted. Folks, let me be clear. We're covering areas that are at most risk of life-threatening weather. I frankly don't care if it's sprinkling at your location. I'm talking to you, YouTube spam bots. We're going to cover areas that are at most at risk of life-threatening weather. So, if you want to know what's going on in your neighborhood, pop up our website's Interactive Weather Radar, TexasStormChasers.com/radar. You can look in your neighborhood. I'm going to look at our YouTube chat real quick. I'm going to start putting kids in timeout. Don't you kids have actually, you kids are supposed to be in school. Good grief. Okay, anyway, enough of the trolls. Okay, so again, potential for a rain wrap tornado now about 4 to 5 miles west of Morrisville. We definitely have a tornado down right now northeast of Nederland coming towards Bridge City. I don't care if there's a tornado warning or not. That thing's got more of a hook echo than any storm I've seen. And that's a very strong gate-to-gate shear signature. So, yeah, this thing's going to need a tornado warning once it moves back on shore. Those of you in Pinehurst, Bridge City, Orange, heads up. This storm over Nederland, Port Neches, put a tornado down right as it moved off into the bay. Somebody count their lucky stars. You definitely prayed right, because this thing waited till it got offshore to produce another tornado. Hey, Steven, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you go on the TSC YouTube? You should be a moderator, right?
Yeah.
Babysit it for a second and start banning folks. I shouldn't if you're on yours. So again, and there's the tornado warning. You're going to see it in just a second, folks. Bridge City, Orange, Pinehurst. Tornado warning. This is going to be for a tornado I am perfectly content saying is down. Tornado down right now over the Marshy Bay about 3 miles west of Bridge City. So if you were in Pinehurst, Orange, you've got about 15 minutes until a confirmed tornado arrives at your location. If it's producing a tornado at that point, I can't tell you. But, so we've got a tornado I had no problem saying is down based on the radar signature. 3 to 4 miles west of Bridge City, moving northeast. It should stay just west of Bridge City in terms of the town. There's a lot of neighborhoods around here, it looks like. So, folks, in Bridge City, you need to be in shelter now. We've got a tornado down over the marshland, southwest of town. That's going to be coming up Highway 73 towards Pinehurst. Orange, West Orange. This is a tornado debris. Yeah, we've got a debris ball. Remember that blue donut I was talking about? You've got it right there. So this is a dangerous situation now. We've got a confirmed tornado doing damage. This is a tornado debris signature. The radar is detecting debris being lofted. Could be pieces of twigs. Other stuff that's not supposed to be in the air. Switch back over. That's a debris ball on the radar. Reflectivity. That's the tornado right there. Switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. And ooh, yeah. There's your red and blue. Remember when I said bright blue against bright red? A 110 mile per hour couplet tornado debris signature debris ball. We have a confirmed tornado down. What could be a strong tornado at that? About 3 miles west of Bridge City, moving northeast. This is a serious and life-threatening situation. A confirmed, possibly strong tornado down right now, 3 miles west of Bridge City, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. Those of you in Pinehurst, Orange, West Orange, you need to be in shelter now. Pinehurst, you've got maybe 15 minutes, if that, but don't wait for it now. Those of you in Bridge City and especially west of Highway 73, tornado down now. Probably 2 to 3 miles west of Bridge City. We're going to go ahead and start doing some telestrating. Debris signature has become larger. Let me turn the roads on. Round Bunch Road. There'll be Bessie Heights Road. Here. Come here. I'll keep talking. Yeah, come over here. You can stare at Steven's head for a sec. We're going to multitask. He's going to babysit and ban people on YouTube who are being more idiotic than politicians. I'm going to keep narrating. See that? You click. And then you click block. Okay?
Yeah.
No, you have to do it on mine. I was going to let you sit there for a minute. So again, tornado down about 3 miles west of Bridge City, moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. It's going to be moving up towards Pinehurst, Orange, West Orange. Pinehurst in about 15 minutes. No travel on I-10 between the Louisiana border and, let's just say, Beaumont. We don't want anybody on Highway 73 between, well, Bridge City and Orange. You need to be in shelter now. We've got a confirmed tornado doing damage. Also have a tornado located near Gist or near Morrisville, moving northeast at 20 miles an hour. The potential for a rain-wrapped tornado there as well. Storms in the east side of the Houston metro, moving away from Houston proper over the next 30 to 60 minutes. Damaging straight-line winds, potential for brief tornadoes. But by far, the tornado threat we're most concerned about is going to be with the supercells out ahead of the squall line and by themselves. My apologies for not being in the center of the frame. We're having to take care of some housekeeping on our YouTube channel. In fact, actually, I can do something on my end now. Okay. Thanks, you're good. I appreciate it. Real quick. See, when you're a small team, sometimes you gotta multitask, and when the YouTube start misbehaving, you just gotta start smacking people on the head. There's a far more Texan solution to that, but we'll forego doing that so we don't upset the YouTube algorithms. And by algorithms, I mean the scary moderation tools of doom. Okay, so again, confirmed tornado about 3 miles northwest of Highway 87 and Bridge City. Coming up on Turner Road, Bessie Heights Road. You need to be in shelter now. Possible rain-wrapped tornado just northwest of Morrisville, moving towards Deweyville. You need to be in shelter now. And real quick, take care of some housekeeping. It'll load.
Meanwhile, you have a very strong, big couplet trying to develop west of Orange.
Yeah, that's the TDS, I think. Yeah, this thing might have actually briefly lifted, but it's getting ready to put another tornado down now. Those of you in Pinehurst, Orange, you need to be in shelter now. Alright? This thing put a tornado down already. It's trying to put another tornado down now. Okay, YouTube, we fixed that. My apologies. Let's get back to it. So, again, there are no tornado warnings around the Houston metro. Well, technically, I guess that's not true. We got severe, excuse me, severe storms southeast Houston, east Houston, Mount Bellevue to Baytown to Beach City, LaPorte. Strong winds, 60 miles an hour. Can't rule out brief tornadoes. Frankly, the brief tornadoes, yeah, they can definitely cause issues, but when we're dealing with the potential for longer-lived tornadoes that can do a lot more than knock some shingles off a roof, we're going to cover those in more detail. And I'm going to turn the road label off. So, my apologies. Those of you in the woodlands, it's raining. It's pouring. Unfortunately for the trolls, we don't have any hailstones to throw at their heads right now, but, you know, try again in a couple months and we'll do that. Woodlands, Houston proper, you're clear. It's raining, it's pouring, there's lightning, no more severe weather. Same thing goes if you're west of Houston, it's raining, it's pouring. Same thing goes for all this rain across the eastern Brazos Valley, East Texas. No severe thunderstorms at this time. We're concerned about are going to be the tornadic supercells coming up to Orange and Morrisville. Now, the city of Beaumont proper, you're not under any warnings right now. We'll look at the velocity on this. Keep an eye on the storm just southwest of Beaumont, folks. It has a little bit of weak rotation, but nothing imminent. What I do think is imminent is this storm west of Pinehurst, east of Vidor, putting another tornado down. And it's going to be crossing Interstate 10 here pretty shortly. So, Pinehurst, Orange, West Orange, north of Bridge City, we want you to be in a safe place. South of Morrisville. Circulation northwest of Morrisville looks much less organized right now, but a tornado warning continues as this storm moves northeast at 35 miles an hour. Biggest concern is going to be tail end Charlie. That's going to be with this well-defined supercell, capable of putting down a tornado at any time. It's going to be north of County Road 105 now, about 3 miles south of Interstate 10. Going to be passing near a bit west of Highway 73 and Interstate 10 in the next couple minutes. My apologies to all those who had to witness my ranting about YouTube trolls. We've been doing this about 15 hours now, so. The old Baldian chief had a little bit of a temper tantrum. We thank you for your support. I hope you enjoyed it. So, again, good news, Houston. If you're in Houston, you're done. It's raining, it's pouring. There's going to be strong northwest winds later from a cold front. Your severe weather threat's over. Orange. Yeah, no, you're under a tornado warning. Go to shelter. Morrisville. Go to shelter. Deweyville. Go to shelter. Vinton, Louisiana. Go to shelter soon. Yeah, folks, this thing's about to put a tornado down the next few minutes. See how this hook is starting to wrap around?
Velocity's just increased significantly.
Yeah. See how this hook's starting to wrap around? I guarantee you this thing's about to put a tornado down. We'll switch over to the velocity mode. You can see winds coming into the storm in the red. Rear flank downdraft wrapping around. Notice how the circulation's getting tighter again. Those bright pixels getting closer. There is a high threat of a tornado in the next 5 minutes just west of Pinehurst, Interstate 10 near Highway 73. Those of you in Little Cypress, Orange, you need to be in a safe place now. Lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Steven? Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. This thing put a big tornado down a little earlier. Yeah, it was a big tornado about 10 minutes ago, 10 to 15 minutes ago, over the, near Port Neches. It was a wedge tornado out over the bay. This thing's getting ready to put another tornado down. So again, those of you in Little Cypress, Orange, if you are near Highway 70 or Highway 62 and Interstate 10, you need to be in a safe place now. No travel on I-10 between Vidor and the Louisiana border. If you know anyone who might be traveling whether it be a commercial vehicle or a personal driver, tell them to get off the highway. Don't be anywhere near that area right now, because this thing could put down a strong tornado any second. Rotation continues to intensify. You see the hook? The hook's wrapping around. Here's what's going to happen. This hook's going to wrap around. Next few minutes, there's going to be a tornado at the tip of that hook. As this circulation wraps up, it's going to be exactly like a ballerina bringing their arms in together. Spin even faster, faster, faster in an ice skating rink. Same principle applies with tornadic supercells. This thing's about to put down a strong tornado. So those of you in West Orange, Little Cypress, Orange, you need to be in a safe place. This is about to cross Interstate 10. About 2 miles, 1 to 2 miles west of Highway 62. And it's moving east, northeast. So be in a safe place immediately. Make sure folks on Twitter got the live stream link. And we're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. So, main story, main message is we're about to have a potentially significant tornado cross Interstate 10 in the next several minutes between Vidor and Pinehurst and Orange in the Golden Triangle. Those of you in Pinehurst, west of Pinehurst, southeast of Morrisville, literally we're talking 1 to 2 miles west of Highway 73, Highway 62, and Interstate 10. That hook continues to wrap. The velocities are intensifying. This thing's about to put a big tornado down. In fact, I am real quick going to pop on over to TxDOT's website and see if I can pull up a camera. And I'm going to, real quick, if I could pull TxDOT camera up and see something, I'll share it with y'all too. There's nothing right there. So again, Highway 73, Highway 62, and Interstate 10, west of Pinehurst, tornado is developing right now. Like, here, we'll switch back to the velocity modes. It's developing. Green's moving towards the radar in Lake Charles, red's moving away. You can see how the hook is coming around and wrapping up, just like a ballerina. When that happens, circulation tightens up, becomes stronger. Tornado genesis usually occurs. And based on the fact this thing put a big tornado down 15 minutes ago, it's probably going to do it again here in a minute. So, again, urgent call to action. Those of you west of Pinehurst, near Highway 62, 73, and Interstate 10, southeast of Morrisville, you need to take shelter. Unless this thing takes a hard right, I am hopeful this will stay northwest of Orange and West Orange. But again, you're in the tornado warning. You need to respect that. You need to be in a safe place. Latest radar scan now has a circulation over Interstate 10. I don't think that's a tornado debris signature. At least I can't say it bona fide for sure at this point. We're going to actually get really specific here. I don't normally do that, but we're going to do it. Keep in mind, the radar beam here is about 3,000 feet off the surface. Radar beam originating out of Lake Charles shoots straight out. The Earth curves. So farther from the radar beam gets, the higher up off the Earth's surface it becomes. So it's going to be 2-lane road. Obviously, this is Interstate 10. It's going to be crossing over Highway 62, near or a mile or two north of Interstate 10. This is Bobcat Circle. Womack Road. And eventually this could move towards Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, just north of Orange. Okay, if we're going to get a tornado here, it's likely going to be on the tip of this hook, very near Highway 62 and Interstate 10. Switch over to the velocity mode. You can see it's mixing over. Very strong velocities in this vicinity. I mean, the hook echo. It doesn't take a weather weenie to realize this thing's got a hook echo. I mean, oh mama. Switch over to the super duper whooper gooper road. Well, that's good. The telestration, rear flank downdraft. Winds coming out the backside of the thunderstorm. Winds coming into the thunderstorm. If we're going to get a tornado, it's likely going to be on the tip of that hook right there. Steven? Steven?
Just now.
That was 10 minutes ago.
So,
yeah, this thing put down what could have been like a mile-wide tornado 20 minutes ago just east of Bridge City. Oaks, I'll tell you, at this point, I would just assume this thing's got a large tornado down. I can't tell you for sure, but given the fact this thing's already put down multiple large tornadoes over the last hour, and this thing is now doing scary reflectivity and velocity things, there's a good chance we've got a tornado crossing Highway 62 near Womack Road right now, north of Interstate 10. So the good news is, unless this thing takes a hard right, it's not going to be an issue for the city of Orange. In fact, Orange, if you're south of I-10, this isn't an issue for you anymore. Call to action is now going to be for folks near Little Cypress. Little Cypress. This is a major problem. Okay, so folks near Little Cypress, I'm going to telestrate it. I want to make sure I get the exact location on this radar right, though, but Little Cypress, around here. Potential for a large, destructive tornado here, moving towards you. You need to take action now. If you're in a trailer, or you're in a mobile home, get your butt in a vehicle, go down Highway 87 towards Orange now. You cannot be in a trailer or mobile home when this thing arrives. It's going to be lowest floor, center room away from windows, sturdy site-built structure. Put on a bicycle helmet, put on some sort of helmet to protect your head, hard-soled shoes. This will stay southeast of Morrisville. This is going to stay north now of Interstate 10 and Orange. Interstate 10 travel, give it another 10 minutes, you'll be good to go from this thunderstorm. We need to zoom out real quick, make sure we don't have any other storms trying to develop circulations. If there's a tornado, it's right there. It'll be near Little Cypress within the next 7 minutes. We'll go back over Beaumont. We'll take a look at the velocity mode. Nothing that screams tornado. Nothing that screams organized rotation. This screams tornado and organized rotation, though. This is now going to be east of Highway 62. Here's a new tornado warning.
It's going to be approaching Highway 87 in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Highway 87 near Little Cypress, maybe just a bit north. In the next 5 to 10 minutes. New tornado warning does include the town of Deweyville, and then heads on into Louisiana. So those of you in Little Cypress, that's going to be a town on Highway 87 north of Orange, right in the center of this polygon. You need to be in a safe place now. Lowest floor, center room, away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. There is the potential for a strong tornado with this thunderstorm. You need to take it seriously. Don't go outside looking for the thing. Move to a safe place now. We'll zoom back out real quick. In fact, I'll do this. Let's turn off the local radar. We're going to switch to regional radar. Storms in East Texas are starting to intensify a bit. Could have straight line winds up to about 50 miles an hour in spots. I could knock a couple of weakened trees down. Nothing severe right now. Storms Moving off the coast of the coastal plains, League City, Angelton, strong winds 40 50 miles an hour. Could have severe winds 60 miles an hour coming into Seabrook, LaPorte, Beach City, Baytown, Mont Bellevue. Again, straight line winds, yes. We need to focus on the life-threatening issue, and that is a large and destructive tornado likely in progress now northwest of Orange. That retrograded. Okay, so it's still on Highway 62. The circulation retrograded a bit west. Highway 62, near or just north of Bobcat Circle, moving towards Little Cypress. Those of you, we're talking not far southeast of Morrisville. If you're in Morrisville, it's pouring. If you're just southeast of Morrisville, you need to be in a safe place now. I mean, literally, this thing's probably a large destructive tornado 3 to 4 miles southeast of Morrisville, moving northeast towards Little Cypress. Those of you in Deweyville, this is going to be a little close if this storm takes a little bit of a left turn. Absolutely no travel on Highway 87 between Highway 12 and Interstate 10, as a large, potentially violent tornado could be crossing Highway 87 within the next 15 minutes. Switch over the velocities. Yeah, I realize it's a bit noisy, but given the reflectivity signature, the velocity signature, I have no doubt we have a significant tornado in progress right here. I'd be surprised if not. Somebody be getting a cookie if there's not. But there's probably a large, significant tornado there right now. Near Highway 62, just north of Bobcat Circle, moving northeast towards Highway 87. And let me get some more roads on here. I'm going to start getting roads. Moving towards Tom Teal Road.
But there is a TDS.
Yeah. Moving towards Hudnail Road, South Tom Teal Road, obviously Highway 87. It's going to be Owen I Road. And that's going to be pretty much Little... I hope this goes north of Little Cypress. I really do. But either way, folks, there's a large tornado down here. And you need to be in shelter now. Eventually, this could be approaching Owen Barton Road and Highway 87. Switching over to the velocity mode, you can see there's a tornado there, folks. There's no doubt about it. We got a large tornado down.
Yeah. Warning has now been switched to weather spotters have confirmed a tornado. Weather spotters confirmed a tornado, so there is a tornado now down that is confirmed visually.
Okay, so we have a 150 mile per hour gate-to-gate circulation.
Large TDS now. Very large pronounced TDS.
Okay, folks, this is going to be a large and violent tornado. This is almost what we could call a tornado emergency for folks between Deweyville and Little Cypress. A tornado emergency for folks between between Deweyville and Little Cypress. That's a debris ball coming up to Hudnail Road, South Tom Teal Road, just west of Highway 87. A large, violent tornado is on the ground, moving northeast. Those of you in Deweyville, you need to be in shelter now. Large, violent tornado. This is a tornado emergency for folks between Highway 12 and Little Cypress. This will stay north of Orange. This was now east of Morrisville. Switching back over to the velocity mode. Gate to gate, well over 150 miles per hour. You want to see a debris signature? There you go. There's your blue donut. This is a large, violent tornado, and what we're going to call a tornado emergency for anyone south of Highway 12, north of Little Cypress. Those of you in Deweyville, if this turns left at all, you're going to have a large, violent tornado coming into town. Those of you in Deweyville, this is a life-threatening situation with extreme urgency. Get to your tornado-safe place now. Lowest floor, center room, away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Helmet, hard sole shoes. Large tornado reported now. Visually, obviously, this is likely a large wedge tornado. You can see the debris signature. When I said big blue donut surrounded by red, that's what I meant. We didn't want to see that. Switching back over to the reflectivity, extreme debris signature. I mean, folks, this is not good. I mean, to get a debris signature this extreme, something bad has happened. Switching over to the velocity modes, it's mixing over. That's just how strong the velocities are. Looking at the radar on my source, which handles the de-aliasing better, we've got winds moving towards the radar at about 100 miles an hour. Winds moving away from the radar at about 60 miles an hour. There is in all honesty, there's probably a good chance this is an EF3 plus tornado. Damage ratings are assigned after the fact, but I'm comfortable saying this thing is a significant tornado in the EF3 plus category. It's capable of producing that kind of damage, so this isn't one of those little weak tornadoes that's going to take shingles off your roof. So you need to take it seriously. Don't go looking for it. You see how the hook here is starting to wrap up? It's going to become a rain-wrapped large tornado here any minute. Debris signature, switching back over to correlation coefficient, you've got a blue donut the size of my bald spot, and that's pretty big. The debris size itself is not indicative of an exact width of the tornado, but there's a good chance this is a relatively large tornado, several hundred yards wide, moving northeast towards Deweyville. It's going to be a close call. This might stay just south of Deweyville, but there is no way we're going to play that lottery. If you're in Deweyville, you need to be in a safe place now. Those of you on Highway 87 between Little Cypress, that's going to be north of I-10, all the way up to Highway 12. This tornado is going to be crossing Highway 87 about 2 to 3 miles south of Highway 12 and Highway 87, literally in the next couple minutes. So I'm comfortable saying this is a tornado emergency for folks on Highway 87, about 2 miles south of Highway 12 in the Golden Triangle. Those of you in Deweyville, you need to be in shelter now. This is going to be a very close call for Deweyville. Debris ball, that's going to be your red little hook right there. Let me clean this up a little bit. Let me be very clear. Deweyville, this is an emergency situation. You need to be in a safe place now. I don't mean to scare you, but this is a violent tornado. You need to take action to protect the life of you and your family. Lowest floor, center room, away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Hard sole shoes, put on a helmet. Large, violent tornado about to cross Highway 87 near Owen Burden Road, maybe down to South Tom Teal Road. This may stay just southeast of town, and I hope it does. But there's a chance this could come right up into Deweyville. Multiple reports of a large, violent wedge tornado down, about to cross Highway 87, 2 to 3 miles south of Loop 12, Highway 12. It's 9:52 a.m. I'm Texas Storm Chasers David-Reimer. We have a life-threatening situation. What is likely a violent, large wedge tornado down, about to cross Highway 87, 2 to 3 miles south of Highway 12. This is east of Morrisville, north of Interstate 10 in the Golden Triangle. This has a high probability of producing extreme damage. Excuse me. Let me clean the roads up. Okay. So and I Road. This tornado just is crossing over Woodland Ridge Road, just west of Highway 87 right now. It's going to be Hartburg Road, Owenburn Road. It's going to be Highway 12 going up into Deweyville. This is Highway 87. You've got Stevens Cutoff. Large, violent tornado down. We'll switch back to the velocity. There you go. You want to see some crazy velocities? Winds 107 miles an hour moving away from the radar. Winds 118 miles an hour moving away from the radar. Winds moving towards the radar about 40 to 50. This is a tornado that is likely in the significant to violent category, what we would call a large wedge tornado. This could be down for a little while. Those of you in Deweyville, this is going to be very close. I cannot stress it enough. If you know anyone in Deweyville, you need to call them and you need to get them into shelter 10 minutes ago. You want alarm bells going off? Here's your alarm bells going off. Big, bad, mad tornado. It is down. It is in charge. It is flying northeast towards the town of Deweyville. We all pray it'll lift. We all pray it'll miss town. And hopefully it does. But I am not a psychic. And I am certainly not God. I can't tell you if it's going to miss Deweyville or lift. But folks, in Hartburg to Deweyville, you're almost out of time. You need to be in shelter now. Okay, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Marshall in East Texas. I'm not going to switch the radar screen. I'm going to go look. They have a TOG possible tag. Okay, so yeah, we do have some strong winds moving towards Hallsville and Marshall. There is a little circulation trying to spin up, so if a warning ends up getting issued for a brief tornado from Easton, Hallsville to Marshall in East Texas, we'll go and cover that. But again, we need to deal with what's a life-threatening emergency right now. That's a large violent tornado on Highway 87 near Owenburn Road and Hartburg Road. Moving towards
the tornado now on Storm Chaser. The large multi-vortex tornado.
Moving towards Deweyville. Is it past the highway already?
Nope, it is not past the highway. It is probably within about a half mile of that.
So there's storm chasers down there streaming the thing right now. It's a multiple vortex tornado, which means multiple suction vortices in the midst of a much larger area of circulation. Let's switch over to the debris mode. I'll show you it real quick. Yeah, you've still got the blue donut. That's debris being lofted, detected by the weather radar. And then your strong velocity signature. And folks, if this does not lift, this is going to pass very near Deweyville within the next 10 minutes. The time now is 9:57.
Appearing, it is crossing the road right now. About to have a view here in a second.
Large, violent tornado crossing Highway 87, a mile or two southeast of Highway 12. For reference, we're talking about north of Interstate 10, north of Orange, east of Morrisville, south of Kirbyville, almost the Louisiana border. Last town we have to get through before this is in Louisiana is Deweyville. Sorry, my voice is starting to go out, but I'll deal. But if it sounds like I'm drowning in snot, it's because pretty much I am.
You usually see the tornado now crossing the road. 82.
87.
87.
Describe it.
It is a very much rain-wrapped multi-vortex tornado. Very hard to see coming at you. So this is a highly rain-wrapped tornado. If you are in the path of this storm, and you cannot see the tornado, it could be already too late. Power flashes now, power lines coming down on Highway 87.
Okay, so there's damage being done near Hartburg Road, near Owenburn Road, Highway 87 right now. Storm Chaser just streamed it. Large multiple vortex tornado wrapped in rain, moving towards Deweyville. Deweyville, this is an emergency situation. You're pretty much out of time. This is a tornado emergency for the town of Deweyville and the Golden Triangle of far southeast Texas. You need to be in shelter now. I mean, here, I'll clear some roads off. And let me be honest, this is wrapping up in rain now. You're not going to see it visually. That was a scary sound I never want to have happen again. Look at the velocity. You can tell it's still there. I mean, look, honestly, if there's a little bit of a little optimism, the velocity has decreased a little bit. But it is down. We just saw across a highway a minute ago. The tornado's still down. Those of you in Deweyville, you need to be in shelter now. All right? Switch to the debris tracker. Still a big blue donut. We just saw it. Loft power lines across Highway 87. It's down. It's moving towards Deweyville. This blue donut. And let me be clear. It looks like the circulation just southeast of Hallsville on Interstate 20, southwest of Marshall, is starting to intensify. We may have a tornado warning for Marshall here in a minute, and we'll go cover that if need be. We're talking about Far East Texas, Marshall, Interstate 20, Hallsville, Easton, Darko, up to Nesbitt, Marshall, Scottsville. Could have a tornado warning up there for a spin-up tornado on the squall line in a minute. For now, let's do a measuring tool. This is 2.5 miles, 2 miles southwest of Deweyville, moving northeast right to town. You saw the latest scan there. Switch back to the velocity mode. We'll let the latest velocity come in. There's nothing good to say, folks. What's likely a large tornado is coming into the town of Deweyville in the Golden Triangle. Deweyville's on the border of Louisiana.
Now moving into the southwest side of Deweyville as we speak at this moment.
Folks in Deweyville, you're out of time. You better be in shelter. That's all I can say. The velocity circulation has weakened a little bit. Deweyville has 1,000 people in it as of the last census. I mean, if there's a little bit of optimism here, it's the circulation has weakened a bit. There's still a tornado down, but hopefully it peaked in intensity before it gets into a very densely populated section of the county. I mean, either way, this is going to be this probably has done significant damage already. Let's be honest. If it lofted as much debris as we've seen, I mean, it's not good. So, Deweyville, you're out of time. It's coming into town now. Large rain-wrapped tornado. Okay, we're going to have to go deal with the tornado warning up in East Texas now. The Marshall circulation's intensified, so Deweyville, tornado will be out of town, northeast of town by 10:15 in Louisiana. We've got to deal with a new tornado now. It's going to be a line segment tornado currently just southeast of Hallsville. It's going to be a tornado warning up in East Texas. This does include the city of Marshall. It's going to include Darko, Marshall, Scottsville. So Hallsville down to Darko, Marshall, Scottsville, just southeast of Nesbitt. Tornado warning, potential for a developing tornado. Let's go ahead and hit the reflectivity, the how hard a training mode. This tornado, if there is one, will be paralleling Interstate 20 pretty much until it moves on into the city of Marshall. So those of you in Marshall, you need to go ahead and take your tornado safety precautions. Lowest floor, center room, away from windows, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If there's a tornado there, it's going to be completely wrapped in rain. You're not going to see a thing except trees falling on you, which we don't want. So don't go out and look for this. It's wrapped in rain. Obviously, there's trees everywhere in East Texas. That's why it's a storm chaser's nightmare. But it's a beautiful area to live, obviously. Switch back over to the velocity mode. My apologies. The radar is going to be a little messed up in the anti-aliasing department, but you can see there's going to be a squall line spin up. Notice how the winds go roughly north to south, then they kind of spit out east. That's a circulation, a little turtle head per se. Little comma head or a little kink in the line spinning up a circulation. So even if we don't have a tornado developing, there's going to be straight line winds of 60 to 75 miles an hour just southeast of Hallsville, coming into the city of Marshall here in the next 15 minutes. So Marshall, you need to be in a safe place immediately. And again, it still looks like we have a tornado in the town of Deweyville right now. It's not good. Let's put it that way. The circulation, if you want some technical meteorology, I'm hoping we've started the occlusion process with the Deweyville tornado before it entered town, which means it would be weakening, but it's still down. And we've already had a significant amount of damage with this tornado. The tornado debris signature west of Highway 87 was massive, so we've already got problems. But looking at the data, I'm hopeful we have a weakening tornado in Deweyville. Tornado debris signature is not as impressive. The circulation is still present, but not as impressive. Okay, we'll go back and look at that in just a second. But again, tornado warning for the city of Marshall until 10:30. A possible tornado now located near Farm to Market 968 and Interstate 20. Moving northeast at about, let's say 35 miles an hour. That'll have it in Marshall around 10:30. So about 20 minutes or less for the city of Marshall. Report from Deweyville. A storm chaser tornado is in Deweyville. Debris is falling out of the tornado a mile away. It's not good. Deweyville, I really hope the tornado went just south of town, but it's not good. So again, Marshall, potential for a tornado in the next 20 minutes from the southwest. Strong straight line winds. Let's go back down to Deweyville. Yeah. Oh, don't worry. The one coming into Marshall's picking up. All right, we've got a tornado watch now for Marshall, Carthage, and Center. All good and happy, except there's a tornado warning for Marshall already. So that kind of outranks it. Tornado, if there is one, over the city or the town of Deweyville now. Switch back over to velocity. The couplet is still quite evident, but it's not as extreme in the velocity department. The tornado debris signature, much less impressive. Excuse me. So I'm hopeful the tornado is... hopefully the tornado's weakening, or weakened as it moved into town. Hopefully it missed town, but it's going to be a close call, regardless. Deweyville, let's give you another... Give it 7 more minutes, 10:15, and then this will be out of Deweyville. Deweyville will be clear. It'll be a Louisiana problem. Squall line still has to move through from the west. Could have damaging straight line winds, and can't rule out brief tornadoes with that squall line as it moves east. So, areas that just got hit, you're going to have another round of storms within the next hour. And we note the squall line itself actually does have circulations in it. One west of Sour Lake, one near Devers, one near Anahuic, west of Winnie and Stowell. Nothing that screams tornado at this second, but still we're going to have to watch them. If there's a tornado, it is so close to Deweyville, I am not comfortable even speculating. So, let's go ahead. Let's go back up to the tornado warning for the city of Marshall. Hallsville, you're clear. I'm comfortable to say that. If there's a circulation, it's going to be about 4 miles east of Hallsville, near Interstate 20, riding up Farm to Market 968 towards Marshall. Let me go ahead. We'll switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. You can see, yeah, we definitely do have a circulation here. It's going to be your circulation. And the hook's redeveloping on it.
It is.
I'm
watching it very closely.
It's going to be your circulation here. And that hook comment was for the Deweyville storm. The circulation, well, it did weaken somewhat, still has a tornado, and it actually looks like it's could be re-intensifying again as it moves towards Starks, Louisiana. Again, Deweyville, give another 6 minutes, and we'll give you a clear sign. This circulation, southwest of Marshall, moving northeast, currently near, let's just say Farm to Market 968 and Farm to Market 3251. So that puts it about 4 miles southwest of Marshall. Oh, excuse me, my allergies just started killing me. Okay, so that's which way the wind's blowing mode. Wind's moving towards the radar in Shreveport, about 70 miles an hour. Let this update. 70 miles an hour, not. About 40 miles an hour towards the radar, about 30 miles an hour away, about a 70 mile an hour circulation. Definitely could put a brief tornado down at any time. Again, should be in the city of Marshall in the next few minutes. If we don't have a tornado, could definitely have straight line winds that can bring down trees, power lines, etc., etc. Oh, thank you. Can I get a little water, please?
Yeah.
Thanks. Sorry. So again, clear message, Marshall, you need to be in your safe place. It's going to be lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Just in case, have a brief tornado develop. Definitely could have straight line winds and the potential for, well, some tree damage, obviously, especially in trees that did not survive last winter's episode of hell freezing over. Okay, back to Deweyville. Circulation exiting Deweyville to the northeast. Give it another few minutes, Deweyville, then you'll get an all clear from this storm. You can see the hook redeveloping. In all likelihood, if the tornado's cycling, it's about to put another big tornado down, which would then threaten Starks, Mississippi, I'm wrong, Louisiana, which is about 4 miles east of Deweyville. We know this could be a problem for DeQuincy, Louisiana. So, again, that's about to move into Louisiana. We need to watch all these storms farther west, the squall line.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Looking at the telestration, I want to point something out. Notice how these are all starting to take little shapes, kidney shapes, these appendages. That's a problem. Those could be little circulations trying to spin up in the squall line. So we're going to have to watch those. I want to point out for places like Port Arthur, Beaumont, Morrisville, unfortunately, even Deweyville could still face another round of severe weather when this line of storms comes on in. And unfortunately, that storm currently north of Beaumont kind of is taking on a suspicious shape. Let's look at velocity. Nothing screams tornado, but we need to watch them closely, those little cells.
Oh,
Okay, so Deweyville, tornadoes exiting town to the northeast, moving Louisiana. Deweyville, you still got strong winds. Tornadoes should now be a couple miles northeast of town. It's still pouring rain. We're going to have to find out what damage happened in Deweyville proper. But unfortunately, this was a relatively long track tornado that went all the way south, probably to about Interstate 10 and Highway 62, 73. I'll draw a little line marker. This is going to be a very crude estimation. But pretty much a 15-mile track or so. And it had a very strong tornado debris signature, so something bad, well, something's happened, unfortunately. We'll zoom back out, go to Marshall. Look at that. The Marshall circulation not as impressive as a few minutes ago, but could still have damaging straight line winds and the potential for a brief spin-up tornado with this storm as it moves on into Marshall. Marshall, you're under a tornado warning, so take shelter. You want me to stop streaming the TI so you can do your own coverage?
no, you're good.
Okay. As the storm moves on to the city of Marshall, damaging straight line winds over the next 10 to 15 minutes, potential for a brief tornado. Gonna have to watch for falling trees, power outages. Take your tornado safety precautions. Lowest floor, center room, away from windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. I'm gonna try and kill my allergies real quick. Just watch me do nose spray. I'm sorry. I could have turned it off, but I didn't. Could have another spin up circulation just east of Tatum. I'm across Highway 59, another one north of Carthage. Clear story is squall lines entering a more unstable air mass and is becoming more irritable in the spinning department. So, Marshall, be in shelter. Storm capable of putting down a brief tornado and strong straight line winds coming on into town over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Deweyville, you've still got strong winds, but the tornado should be to your northeast. Severe weather threat has not ended. We need to watch all these storms farther west still. These little appendages, for example, have me concerned for spin-up potential. We'll take a look from the Houston radar. And yeah, see how those look like little hooks? Those could be spin-up tornadoes trying to develop. So I'm afraid we're going to be doing more tornado coverage for the Golden Triangle before all is said and done over the next 2 to 3 hours. But the only tornado warning currently left in the state of Texas is going to be for Marshall, up in East Texas on Interstate 20. Switch over to the which way the wind's blowing mode. You can see, even if we don't have a tornado, we're seeing very strong straight line winds in excess of 60 miles an hour being indicated. Same thing for Nesbitt. So these storms could definitely produce wind damage, power outages, knock down trees. If we have a little tornado trying to spin up, it's southwest side of Marshall right now. But frankly, that threat's coinciding with the straight line wind issue. Nasty little surge of straight line winds, potentially a spin up tornado crossing over Highway 59, several miles south of Marshall. That's going to be closer to Darko, or specifically about 4.5 miles south of Farm to Market 2625 on Highway 59. That could be a issue for Wascom and Greenwood, Louisiana, and Shreveport, but that always seems like a issued train. Something always tries to get Shreveport. So Marshall, you're going to have very strong winds over the next 10 minutes. Straight line winds, 50, 60 miles an hour. Can't rule out a brief tornado. Same thing, honestly, goes all the way from just east of Darko to Wascom, Greenwood, Louisiana. Pretty much Louisiana border. Highway 59, Louisiana border. Let's just say from Carthage all the way to Jefferson, east of the Louisiana border. Potential for 50, 60 mile an hour straight line winds. Potential for brief spin up tornadoes over the next 30 minutes. And those of you in Beaumont, Golden Triangle, China, Winnie, Taylor Landing, Needleland, Orange. Storms coming in from the west are showing rotation. Don't be shocked if there are new tornado warnings at some point. Looks like the circulation here near Marshall definitely looks much weaker. I think this is a straight line wind issue for sure. Winds 50, 60, 65 miles an hour. Frankly, it doesn't matter if it's a weak tornado or straight line winds. It's going to cause plenty of damage in terms of wind, regardless. So take it seriously. Take shelter in an interior room, especially with all the trees that could come down in some of these areas. Yeah, my advice. And we'll keep an eye on all these little rotation signatures on the leading edge of the squall line. I mean, any one of these could put a little brief tornado down. That's just the name of the game with such a high shear environment. And several hours ago, when I was doing severe weather coverage for I-35 in Central Texas at like 5 a.m., I mentioned how around 9, 10 a.m., after the sun came up and the atmosphere destabilized, we might have some problems. Anyway, it is 10:20 in the morning. Good morning. I'm David-Reimer with the Texas Storm Chasers, lovingly known as Baldy in Chief. I wonder why. Or the Weather Leprechaun, as a troll once called me, but then I adopted because, honestly, it sounds like a pretty cool shirt idea. It's 10:20. We've had a major tornado move across portions of the Golden Triangle, just west of Pinehurst, north of Bridge City, northwest of Orange, near Interstate 10, Highway 62 and 73, all the way up to near Deweyville. We had debris lofted probably over 15,000 feet, and radar velocities exceeded 150 miles an hour. That was a very significant tornado. And we haven't heard specific damage reports yet, but I'm hopeful the tornado weakened before it came into Deweyville. But I'm afraid before Deweyville, especially from Highway 87 back southwest to Highway 62, it was a very strong tornado. We'll keep watching these storms here in the Golden Triangle. Looks like, unfortunately, this one west of, Morrinsville may be intensifying with some low-level rotation. You can see a bit of a hook echo, so we're going to have to watch it. I mean, we're literally... there's one consequence of being so close to the Gulf Coast. The unstable air mass is pretty much unlimited. Can just keep flowing inland. So even though we just had a major tornado literally 10 miles, if that, southeast of this storm, northwest of Morrinsville, it's still an environment capable of additional severe weather, including the threat for tornadoes. And, well, it's trying to develop a broad circulation. We'll keep an eye on it, but it's north of Morrinsville, moving north-northeast. This would stay well west of Deweyville, most likely. Those of you in Buna, especially southeast of Buna, keep an eye on it. We'll do the same, but again, no imminent issues with tornado. There's no tornado warning. Deweyville, circulation's up into Louisiana. Closer to Starks, Louisiana, about to cross over Louisiana Highway 109, and it's north of Highway 12. Got a severe storm coming up to Winnie, Texas, Interstate 10. Strong winds, 60, 65 miles an hour. And we'll watch for the potential for a brief tornado. We'll look at the velocity mode from the Houston radar. By the way, let's clear some folks. That's a good thing to do. Houston Metro, you're done. You're all done. Galveston, it's pouring, it's storming. There's probably some strong wind. Frankly, yeah, the outflow boundary is offshore. Galveston, you're done with severe weather. Same thing goes for the entire squall line all the way down to the coastal plains. Coastal plains, you're done. You're going to have strong northwest winds and much lower humidity in a few hours. We've still got rain falling across the eastern Brazos Valley, southeast Texas. Severe weather threat is essentially, within the next hour, will be east of Highway, 69 completely. Once this line of storms extending from Marshall down to Winnie passes any location, they're done. So literally, we're down to the last column of counties in East Texas. Everyone west of there, you're done. Severe weather threat's over. Rain, yes. Storms, yes. Severe weather issues, no. Which means hopefully we'll be done here in Texas within the next 90 minutes. Here's something, a flash flood warning for Jefferson and Orange counties. Good news, Beaumont. You're under a flash flood warning. Vidor down I-10 to Winnie, flash flood warning through 1:30 p.m. There's some normalcy for you. Call me shocked. Okay, so I don't think the Weather Service in Shreveport's going to extend this tornado warning for Marshall. Let's check in on it. If not, that'll be gone in 5 minutes, and we'll be done with the tornado warnings. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. We're going to have a new one in 5 minutes, just to spite me, in the Golden Triangle. I know, I'm very special. So again, doesn't look like the tornado warning's going to be extended in Marshall. You've got strong winds, no signs of a tornado. Switch over to the radar. It's pouring in Marshall. You probably got winds 50, 60 miles an hour. No signs of a tornado. So, it doesn't look like that tornado warning is going to be extended, which means we'll be down to 0 tornado warnings in about 5 minutes. At least for a little while. Does that mean we get to all go away? AK, do I get to go to sleep? No. We need to watch these storms in the Golden Triangle carefully, because they are still showing signs of producing strong winds and a little bit of rotation. Pretty good surge of wind now north of Winnie. Straight line wind. Looks like winds of about 60, 65 miles an hour. Those should be moving up towards the southwest side of Beaumont. Up I-10 over the next 30 to 45 minutes. Bannock, China, etc. But now that we can take a little breather, ironically, I was supposed to be flying out from DFW International Airport in about 2.5 hours. That's not going to happen now. Luckily, I already rescheduled my flight to tomorrow night. But yeah, no, I ironically had a cross-country flight scheduled for this afternoon. But rescheduled it a couple days ago when it became apparent I was going to be doing severe weather coverage for about 15 hours. At least digital media severe weather coverage. I haven't been live video-wise for 15 hours, but you can go back and watch live video. I was doing live video about 13 hours ago. Been here all night. But that's what we do. You know, we got folks that go out and chase the storms, then me, Baldy and Chief here, I sit here and babysit them. And when folks ever ask why I might have 7 or 10 computer monitors, let them realize why. It's called situational awareness. And I've heard the sound of YouTube stickers, the donations, the super chats, Facebook stars. Well, I don't acknowledge it in real-time tornado coverage. I really do appreciate it. It helps pay the bills, electric bills, bandwidth bills. all that stuff. So definitely appreciate it. But with that being said, we are about 90 seconds away from not having any tornado warnings. And assuming that ends up being the case, we'll do a quick overview now. And then we'll probably terminate our continuous live coverage. And I will go take a massive allergy pill to get my voice from not dying. All right, so here at about 10:30, we've got a line of storms producing some straight line winds, 40, 50 miles an hour, extending from near New Boston down to Jefferson, Marshall. That tornado warning's about to go away. Down Highway 96 all the way through Carthage, Center, St. Augustine, and then a bit west of 96, over to 69, Zavala, Woodville, Lumberton, Devers, coming up into Winnie. Threat for storms, severe weather west of that line is Dunzo. We'll have to keep an eye on the Golden Triangle for about another hour until this squall line makes it east, but once it's gone in Louisiana, we're done with severe weather potential here in the state of Texas. Would it be funny to talk about the fact we may see our first snow of the season next week in the Panhandle? A very cold-looking weather pattern looks like it's going to set up next week. A year ago today, we had an ice storm in the big country, northwest Texas, up in Oklahoma. Well, it looks like winter's going to arrive for parts of Texas next week. It's going to get cold. We're not talking February cold, but, highs 40s and 50s, lows, a lot of first freezes of the season for folks. So, with that being said, we are now done with tornado warnings, at least as of now. We're going to keep an eye on these storms approaching Beaumont, Port Arthur, Winnie, and the easternmost row, or the easternmost column of counties in East Texas. But assuming we have no more issues, the storms, the strongest, and the severe weather threat will exit Texas to the east within the next 90 minutes, just in time for lunchtime. So, with that being said, thank you for joining our severe weather coverage this morning. I think we've been live for about 2 hours now, maybe a bit longer. It's been about 15 hours of coverage for Texas, and, most of us made it through unscathed. Almost got through the day without any major issues, but unfortunately then had a major tornado in the Golden Triangle from just west of Beaumont. Or excuse me, not just west of Beaumont, let me be clear. Just west of Orange, just east of Vidor, up to Deweyville, Texas, about a 15 to 20 mile trek, and it does look like the tornado was down when it crossed Interstate 10, based on video. So, it was a major tornado, probably down for 15 to 20 miles, and, we were here doing live coverage like I promised we would. We're here for tornado warnings. Doesn't matter where in the state. Typically, if we're talking far west Texas where there's cows, we'll come on for a minute, but all right, so you can keep an eye on the sky with the interactive weather radar on our website, texasstormchasers.com/radar. Let me go ahead and, you know what? I don't get to use this too often because we usually have all this stuff going on in the middle of the night, but, let's pop over the satellite data. Let me see how this looks. Skies are clearing. I-35 west, skies are already clearing out. I-45 west won't be too much longer now. We're going to have some wraparound clouds, maybe some rain in northeast Texas later this afternoon on the backside of the parting low, but no more severe weather. And in fact, I'll turn on wind gust real quick. The wind observations, very windy with a cold front coming on in. These are the observed wind gusts. See, we're already gusting well up into the 30s, 40s, even 52-mile-an-hour wind gust in Lubbock. We'll probably have winds gusting up towards 60 miles an hour in the Panhandle later this afternoon. Same thing goes for tomorrow. It's going to be very windy across Texas tomorrow. North winds, 40, 50, maybe even 60 miles an hour in spots. So, squall line moves out of the state in the next hour. Behind it, we get clearing skies, cooler temperatures, a much drier air mass, and strong, gusty northwest winds for days. So, with that being said, we'll be back if needed over the next hour. Otherwise, thank you for joining us this morning. I am Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David-Reimer. I really hope you don't have to see me again today. Otherwise, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. We hope everyone in the Golden Triangle where that tornado struck ended up being all right. But we'll be keeping an eye out for reports. Y'all have a good rest of your day.